Excess energy and aggression need to be put somewhere. In the wild, the bull needs to protect the herd. But in a city or village surrounded by people, you have to look for other ways to let off steam. To do this, the bull was given an empty passenger car to be torn to pieces. It's an amazing sight, because the animal lifts a piece of metal 3 times heavier than itself on its horns. The bull strikes powerful blows that leave dents the size of an adult's head. The bumper flies off, the parts break, the body bends. If there was still a chance to fix this car before meeting with the animal, then now it can simply be handed over for scraps. For a bull, this car is like a punching bag for a heavyweight fighter. Just a nice way to spend time. When a herd of buffaloes came to drink, suddenly a huge hippopotamus got out of the water. These aggressive beasts have obvious anger control problems. Just don't try to hint to them about therapy. It only pisses them off more. As soon as a stranger comes to the territory of a hippopotamus, the animal goes into some kind of frenzy. With the weight of about 4 tons, armed with fangs almost as long as an adult's arm, and even under the protection of a dense and thick hide, the hippopotamus causes danger in other animals and can drive anyone away. Except buffaloes. If the family wants water, it will get water. The leader will distract the aggressor on himself, and the rest will support the leader. Dominic Toretto would be proud of these horned ones because they know what the value of a family is. A huge bear came out of the forest to catch a domestic cow. He sure underestimated the ungulates. Not only were they not scared, but they went to get acquainted with the bear with the whole herd. As a result, the predator just ran away. And this is an ordinary domestic cow. The tiger is one of the few predators on the planet that can handle an adult bull one-on-one. This huge cat surpasses even a lion in strength and can break a buffalo's neck with a blow of its paw. During the attack, she uses a cool fighting technique. She throws herself on her neck and does a somersault in flight. This is acrobatics. The purpose of such a trick is to bring down the bull, despite his 2-fold weight advantage. The plan was effective. The tiger hung onto the victim and had already reached the throat. It was not possible to break the neck, but still the buffalo had only a few minutes of desperate struggle. At least that's what the tiger thought, but he didn't know which bull he was messing with. And it's not the strength of this animal, but the fact that he has loyal friends. There was a group of these buffaloes nearby, and the tiger decided that all these ungulates would run away in fear. Mistake. They tried to fight off a kinsman. However, the tiger was not only able to defend the prey, but even rebuffed the bulls and chased them. That was the decisive moment. It turned out that this was a tactical trick. The bulls only pretended to be scared in order to force the tiger to abandon the victim. And when the tabby cat started chasing them, the ungulates suddenly turned around to counterattack. They went into a frontal attack to trample this predator. The tiger had to flee. Unfortunately, the bull's cunning plan worked too slowly. The injuries of the wounded bull turned out to be too strong, so the striped cat will still get her lunch. But it is unlikely to ever approach this herd again. After all, these bulls know how to play with tactics and strategy. Who knows what kind of trap they will come up with the next enemy this time. Bulls often fight with other herbivorous horned animals. For example, there may be a duel between a buffalo and a yak. Musk oxen and yaks are quite rare animals with a limited habitat. Because of their massive hunchbacked bodies, they may seem clumsy, but do not underestimate the monstrous strength of these creatures. Musk oxen live in the northern regions of Eurasia and America. They are quite distant relatives of ordinary bulls. But the yaks, on the contrary, are closer to them genetically. Yaks live in the mountainous regions of China and other countries of the Himalayan region. According to one of the laws of biology, the further into the cold climatic zones, the stronger and larger the local animals become. Therefore, it is not surprising that musk oxen are much heavier than half a ton, with a height of about 5 feet. Just look at how this musk oxen, for the sake of training, smashes a huge log as tall as a man into splinters. With each blow, huge chunks fly off the tree. The musk ox rushes to the target at the speed of a projectile. And this despite the fact that the animal is just having fun. Surprisingly, the duel of this buffalo and a yak looks unexpectedly noble. Unlike the cruel rhinoceros, which tries to pierce the victim with constant stabbing blows, both ungulates collide in a frontal attack and simply try to overpower each other without unnecessary violence. It seems that for them, it is something like a sport. After all, they do not compete for the females, a place in the herd, or a territory. Maybe it's really just entertainment for them. What do you think? The snow leopard is one of the few animals that can defeat a yak. This panther is smaller than a tiger or lion, but also has great strength and agility. However, this time the spotted predator contacted the wrong enemy. He attacked the yak calf, hoping for easy prey. The cub almost gave up, but his mother was not afraid of the enemy's fangs and claws. Yaks are large animals. Males can reach a weight of about a ton and a height of up to 7 feet, up to 2 meters. Females are much smaller, but their size also inspires respect. This cow went on the attack and recaptured her offspring with lightning speed. The snow leopard was almost trampled by sharp hooves, and he had to run to look for prey with a less strong character and powerful horns. There are regions of Asia and Africa where wild bulls coexist with domestic ones that are on free grazing, and there are often conflicts between them. Strangely enough, but life next to a man has not pampered a domestic bull at all, which gives a powerful rebuff to its wild cousin. Just look at how confidently he pushed his opponent away. An indomitable power that you don't expect from a pet. This was in vain. After all, these animals spend a lot of time in an open area, so they have to repel the attacks of not only uninvited hoofed guests, but also predators. It builds character. The buffalo realized too late that he had contacted the wrong opponent when he came to this field. He expected that he would get juicy grass and possibly the females of the herd. But instead, he got crushing blows. The bull not only repels the wild buffalo, but also strikes him with his horns in the neck area. Both animals are at risk because they cling to each other and can seriously injure their eyes with the sharp tips of their horns during a power struggle. Fortunately, this is not happening. The bulls beat each other several times, converge in the fight, while the cows watch the outcome of the duel with interest. Interesting. Who do you think they're rooting for? The duel of two gars looks especially impressive. This is the name of the largest representatives of the bull family. Their weight can reach 2 tons at a height of more than 2 feet, more than 2 meters. They live in tropical regions of Asia, so they have very short fur. Every steel muscle under the polished hide stretches like a string when 2 males come together in a duel. They butt heads and try to avoid sharp blows with sharp horns, but at the same time they powerfully ram each other with the shock part of the head and sweep away everything in their path during with such a duel. It is not surprising that even young Indian elephants give in to Gar with his pressure and combat capabilities. A horned animal can push an inexperienced elephant into the depths of the jungle to feel freely in a spacious field. Only a tiger can pose a threat to Gar. But if the cat does not manage to sneak up unnoticed, she will have to retreat. Otherwise, the horns of the ungulate will show that it is better to get involved with somebody else. For most animals, a crocodile is a real monster that appears out of nowhere, grabs with terrible jaws, and drags under the water. But sometimes the crocodile meets such a rebuff that it becomes a pity. Hippos, lions, and even some zebras are able to turn this predator into a chop in a couple of seconds. Who will you bet on, the lion or the crocodile? A reptile with its huge jaws can be twice as heavy and several times stronger than the lion. And the bite force of a crocodile is about as strong as the Bugatti engine is more powerful than a moped. There is a lot of evidence of reptiles attacking large cats during watering or crossing reservoirs by swimming. Leopards and cheetahs are really tasty prey for these reptiles. And a crocodile can also try to repel a lion's prey if it is on the shore, or even attack an entire pride. But it turns out that attacking lions is a bad idea. These cats are distinguished by the enormous strength of their paws and the ability to fight, which crocodiles can only envy. If the leader of the pride is not caught by surprise, he will be able to fight back against this overgrown lizard. This lion literally drove the crocodile under the water. Still, even this reptile won't want to get hit by this powerful paw. And a few lionesses themselves can turn a crocodile into a suitcase material. Their agility, speed, and group work allows them to successfully fight such an enemy in shallow water, where the crocodile has no advantage in maneuverability. And the claws of lions are strong and sharp enough to overcome the armor of such an opponent in a couple of blows. Other panthers, such as tigers and jaguars, can also hunt crocodiles and alligators. The first ones are generally the largest and strongest cats in the world, so if a crocodile allows itself to confuse a tiger with an ordinary victim, he will quickly point out to the reptile its mistake and teach some respect. The tiger has such powerful jaws that it is able to open up the crocodile's armor even in the strongest place, on its back. The reptile struggles, but is inferior in maneuverability and flexibility, at least on land. But if clashes between the tigers and crocodiles are relatively rare due to the caution of this striped hunter, then the jaguar is another matter. Lions and leopards mostly strangle the enemy. The jaguar breaks its neck or breaks the occipital bones with its fangs. Why? Yes, because they developed such a manner of hunting specifically against reptiles whose neck is too wide to intercept it in a suffocating reception. That is, alligators are in the top 5 favorite victims of jaguars. The alligator likes to attack from the water, but the jaguar is such a good fighter that when the reptile attacks, it does not retreat to land, but begins the fight right in the enemy's native element. That's when the alligator really regretted choosing an opponent. Felines in general are distinguished by boldness, which borders on arrogance. A unique frame got into the lens, where the crocodile is slapped by the simplest domestic cat. This impudence became so unexpected that the reptile simply retreated from resentment and disappeared under the water. Give this cat a like, show him your respect before he takes offense at you. Victory over a crocodile for most animals is a huge success and exceptional luck. But if this reptile tries to attack an elephant, well, here the result is quite obvious. The elephant is more than 10 times heavier and more massive, and its strength advantage is simply huge. And the reptile knows this, so it almost never touches elephants. If a crocodile attacks an elephant, it happens by mistake. Well, I accidentally confused the thin trunk of an animal with some small animal. Well, it happens in muddy water. It's difficult to see the details. What happens because of this error is another confirmation that you need to be careful with what gets into your mouth. For an elephant, even crocodile jaws are just a minor nuisance. But this is a touchy animal, and it will show the reptile with enviable persistence how wrong she was when she mistook the trunk for a zebra's little leg. An elephant can simply trample a crocodile, can throw it out of the water, or can beat the reptile with its own body, lifting it high by the trunk and then hitting it on the water and bottom. You will be surprised, but even a fish can give an unexpected rebuff to a crocodile. Moreover, we're not talking about a huge shark here, which is twice as large as the reptile, but about a fish less long than a crocodile's head. Any other kind of aquatic life of this size for this lizard is a snack and nothing more. But here the reptile has definitely contacted the wrong opponent. After all, this is an electric eel. It can create a voltage of up to 860 volts and a current of up to 40 milliamps. What do these numbers mean? They mean that the crocodile is literally paralyzed from shock, and its muscles are bound by a terrible cramp. Water is an excellent conductor, so an eel can attack a target within a radius of several meters around itself. And frightened by the threat of the crocodile, attacks again and again, even when the enemy retreats. A few strokes are enough to stop the reptile's heart. Underestimating crocodiles and thinking that anyone can easily pile on them is not worth it, because to put it mildly, it's not like that at all. No wonder this creature is considered one of the coolest predators among modern reptiles. A crocodile can grow up to 13 to 15 feet, 4 to 5 meters, with a mass of more than half a ton. Excellent starting indicators for a hunter, but the main thing is a combination of powerful armor and weapons. The armor is made of durable scales, which somewhat resemble medieval armor. As a weapon, jaws in which the leg of an adult man can fit. All crocodile teeth are curved back fangs, the length of which can reach the length of a human finger. However, you need to be able to use this all arsenal. Well, here the crocodiles also have something to brag about, because they survived the dinosaurs for a reason, existing on the planet for tens of millions of years almost unchanged. Crocodiles prefer the technique of ambush hunting. He hides in the muddy water, waiting for the victim to pass by him. Then, a lightning-fast jerk, and with powerful jaws, the reptile takes its prey with it to the bottom. Thanks to its incredibly strong jaws, the crocodile is able to hold an antelope, zebra, or even a bull heavier than itself. At the same time, the reptile not only drowns its victim, but is also able to cope with it on land thanks to a unique fighting technique. When the crocodile grabs the victim, it folds its paws along the body and begins to rotate furiously along its axis, holding the victim. Even the strongest bones, tendons, and muscles cannot resist such a technique. But even with all this arsenal, the crocodile sometimes gets a good thrashing. Usually, ungulates become victims of African crocodile species. During seasonal migration, millions of these animals travel across entire countries in search of food. The backbone of such huge animals are wildebeest, which peacefully coexist with zebras. It is these herds that are the favorite prey of crocodiles, who are waiting for them at the ferry and collect their tribute from the herd, catching animals in difficult areas. But some ungulates are so stubborn that they simply refuse to disappear into the jaws of even this cold-blooded monster. Sometimes their salvation is a truly unique act. Just look at how the zebra jeweler avoids meeting with the jaws of crocodiles. It's like she's dancing. Of course, an exceptional striped horse is capable of such a feat, but who knows, maybe this zebra will teach its descendants to dance, and after 100 to 200 years, crocodiles simply will not be able to catch these dexterous ungulates. Answer in the comments, were you worried about this zebra, or were you rooting for the predator? In general, crocodiles are stronger than snakes. Poisonous ones usually cannot bite through their very thick and strong scales. As for pythons, even if the snake is twice as large, the crocodile is able to cope with it simply thanks to the strength of its huge jaws. The smooth scales of the snake cannot withstand a meeting with rows of crocodile fangs. But the problem is that the snake may not be twice, but 3 times or even 4 times larger than the opponent. And the crocodile often fails to understand this right away, because the python is perfectly camouflaged, and in a twisted position or by the size of its head alone, it is difficult to estimate its entire size. Therefore, sometimes a crocodile really makes the mistake and gets involved with a snake that is too big. In this case, he turns himself into her lunch. The boa constrictor pounces on the reptile and wraps its ring around it so as not to allow itself to be bitten. And then, with each exhalation, he tightens his grip more and more in such a way that there is simply no room for oxygen in the crocodile's lungs. And when he no longer has the strength to resist, the python squeezes the enemy's body even harder to cause internal damage. It's a frightening picture, but if any antelope sees it, believe me, she will be delighted. After all, the python has just saved the neighborhood from a terrible predator, and now he will not hunt for several weeks.